How's it going, everybody? Chad from Wonderspark Puppets here once again, and it's time to learn about breath. Okay? In this video series about hand puppet techniques, we've talked about a lot of things. We made some quick puppets. That's right, using just toilet paper tubes and a bit of tape and paper. And today we're talking about breath. Breath is essential for maintaining the illusion that a puppet, something that has no life on its own, is alive, right? How do we communicate to the audience that this thing that we know in the back of our brains has no life, it's just a material or an object or something, is actually alive? It's a bit of a magic trick, and breath is one of the tools in our toolkit that can help you achieve that illusion. So, how do we do breath? Let's get our quick puppets on our fingers. Here we go. Shoop. Okay, let's think about some different ideas about breathing, right? How can we show that your puppet is breathing? Well, let's throw down our puppets for a second and just think about you breathing, right? When you want to break down movement for your puppet, always start with your own body. So if you're breathing, what happens? I mean, you could just stand here like a lump and go, but that's really not going to show the audience that you're breathing. So we're going to go for exaggerated movement. So when we breathe, like take a deep breath. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Like our chest pumps up. Right? Maybe we go back like a little bit. And then when we let that breath out, maybe we go back to our neutral, standing straight up, or maybe bending over slightly. So maybe up and then maybe out. Think of some different ways that you can breathe. What are some different breaths that you take in different acting situations? So let's see, we did like a big breath, like, right, and let it out. What about a big old sigh? If we sigh, we kind of, maybe we see like our shoulders slump a little bit, like head down. Sigh is usually like a sigh of relief, or it could be like a sigh of just like, something terrible is happening. That's breath, right? What about if we're blowing something down? We're taking like a big breath, like, and then blowing it out. You know, spitting as much air as possible. We can use our entire body like a superhero, like Superman has that powerful breath. You know, think of some different creative ways of breath. Maybe like a tense breath, like there's some kind of creature near and your heart is pumping. Like a panicky breath. Okay, now think of, now that you've thought of all those different ways of different breaths you can do, let's translate into our miniature figure, our little puppet, starting with a deep breath. Okay, so always be looking at your puppet, by the way. When your puppet takes a breath, can't just be still, because if there's no movement here, the sound that I'm making could be anything. If I go, I mean, maybe that's the wind overhead. The puppet has to be making some kind of movement, and it has to line up with the breath that you, the manipulator, are making. So we're going to take a deep breath, just like we do with our bodies, chest up and then chest down. Very simple. Okay, so we're breathing in, breathing out, right? And from the side, breathing in, breathing out. Maybe like a little sigh. Okay, or if we're blowing something down, let's blow this house down right here. So we're taking a huge breath in. Here we go. And then blowing out. All right, a couple things. At the end of your breath, there should be, if you're doing like a big breath, there should be a button, some kind of thing to indicate this is the end. If you just have a breath that just ends whenever, like, or excuse me, that's better. It doesn't look as good as. So with all exaggerated movements, always have something at the end tell us this is the end of the movement. Same with breath. If we breathe in, we don't want to see it go, and still we're moving with the puppets. So our breath here should line up with the movement exactly here. Okay? Now, when we are howling or singing, we don't want to have our puppet still. So if you're howling, ow, like if this is the big bad wolf, ow. Two things. We want to move a little bit so that the audience doesn't forget that this is where that sound is coming from. And secondly, we always want to end huh, exactly with a movement, exactly when our breath ends. So remember, always aru, never awu, or you sound like a puppy. Aru! Way better. Always be precise, never sloppy. And always, like, this puppet may look a little crooked here because I'm looking at it here to make sure that my movement is lined up correctly. So we talked about a lot of things. Definitely try out a lot of the stuff on your own. Let's see, anything left in my notes? Not really. So try out some exaggerated breathing movements, and then when you're ready, pair them with walking and exaggerated pantomime movement, which we're going to get into next time. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Chad from WonderSpark Puppets, and we'll see you next time.